Hey, what's up, everyone? Previously on our Game News Live show.
Final story.
Yeah, so this one is pretty big because if anybody's aware about what EVO is, huge fighting game championship that's usually held here in Las Vegas. I think this last year it was still in
It
Vegas
was
before the pandemic, or no? It was canceled.
before the pandemic. It was still in Vegas. Last year, it was canceled because there was a lot of, let's just say, controversy surrounding Evo. If I don't know if you remember this from like last year, basically one of the top dogs in Evo got outed as being like a pedophile.
Oh,
Yeah, it was a whole thing. So they basically canceled Evo. Yeah,
coronavirus didn't have anything to do with that, or
I mean, it was all COVID related pedophilia. It was, no, it was bad.
oh man,
But yeah, it was, yeah. So,
when you're
but
the
yeah, so
reason that they cancel an event during a pandemic,
it was
but you're the
canceled. It was
reason.
COVID.
Ow.
It was, it was a whole to do. So yeah,
Ugh.
so it was canceled, but there was still there were still online fighting game tournaments, right? Even in this pandemic world that we have here, they still happen all the time. Sony, if you look at like, if you follow PlayStation on Twitch, every week they're doing like MK11 tournaments. Like, so there's still a big online fighting game community tournament scene out there,
Right.
which is cool. Good. Like, keep it going, everybody. Like hang on to it. But yeah, Evo. Basically, this announcement just came out. This is yesterday, I think, and I was just like, "Whoa, I didn't see that coming." Sony has purchased Evo, so they are going to be running with it from here on out.
That's
And it was
crazy.
like, yeah. I mean, I was just like, "That's cool." It was like 2 days ago when this was announced. I was confused, right? Because so Sony put a lot of money into Street Fighter, because like if you remember, Street Fighter V is still a PC and PlayStation exclusive. Like, it was never released on the Xbox.
Right.
Clearly, they bankrolled some of that in there. I was really curious. So, like, me and actually Zion9, who's another buddy of ours, we were talking about this, and it was like, is Sony going to make a play and like fund some more fighting games? Like, are we going to see a new Battle Arena Toshinden, which was like a PlayStation like exclusive game? Like where are we going to go with this? Or and I doubt Sony's going to just straight up say something like, only Sony games are going to be here now, because that would be foolish of them, because Smash is still like the top fighting game in the world.
Right.
And like Killer Instinct, although nowhere near as popular as anything else, still has a pretty big following, and that's only on Xbox, right? So like I'm curious to see if anything changes. I doubt anything will, but maybe Sony's going to invest more into fighting games now.
Possibly, because isn't Tekken a big thing as well? Or used to be?
Tekken has a huge following, but it's my understanding that the latest Tekken games have not been the best.
Yeah, it's been going downhill.
Yeah.
Oof.
So Joe Dubs says right here, Nintendo came out with a statement saying they are assessing the situation. So, I mean, there's Sony PlayStation characters on Smash anyway, right? There
are characters that have been in PlayStation games
exclusive
that have appeared.
Right.
Yeah, but they're not Sony characters. Like, for instance, like Cloud from Final Fantasy VII is in Smash.
Yeah.
That's a Square character. That's not a Sony character. It's a Square character.
And Sony has always been the one to hold back on any like partnership Nintendo Xbox kind of crossplay kind of things. So
Sony's usually the last one to the party. Like, Microsoft and Nintendo have shown over the past few years that they're pretty chummy with each other, and they're willing to, cross over stuff. And Sony eventually gives in. Yeah, so I am curious about that.
That is going to be interesting, because then, I mean, granted, like Killer Instinct has been a thing at Evo for a couple of times now. It's not like a major event there.
Yeah,
Mortal Kombat. They invested into Mortal Kombat with all the tourneys. Street Fighter 5, right?
Yeah,
they've invested into that. Only thing that's left that's out there that's in the wild is like Blaze Blue, when they don't even do that anymore. They have the King of Fighter, or no, what is it? The KOF.
Well, so Arc has Blaze Blue. They also have like Guilty Gear, which are still for the anime fighting scene. Those games are huge. Like there are a ton of people who are into those games.
So then that just also makes me wonder, is because Vegas has always been like the place that they hold this stuff, usually at like a Caesar's Palace or something like that.
The past few ones, even though like me and like Matt and a bunch of people have been in there, they're at Bally's or at the Paris.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and because I guess those are cheaper to get, like a little cheaper to get into. But then like, I don't know if you remember this, like the last two, I think it was the last two, they had Evo for like day 1 and 2 out of like Paris or Bally's or something like that. And then they had a big event for the final day. And that was at like Mandalay or something like that.
Huh.
Yeah.
I think this just makes it complicated, but still like,
it totally does. Because you had to pay extra to get into like day.
Oh my God.
Yeah. It was really dumb. Yeah. People were like, seriously, this is like stupid.
Huh.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thinking about that now is like, now I wonder if they're going to change the venue completely somewhere else. You know what I mean? I mean, we're still in the pandemic, but let's just say like we get out of this whole thing situation, right?
Yeah.
Like, are they going to change it to like some overseas thing situation, or they're going to keep it here in the States?
Well, so Evo is always here. And then there's also an Evo in Japan, which is, it's the same company. It's just there's one here and there's one there, right? So I think they're still going to do both. I mean, it only Evo makes a lot of money.
Yeah.
Evo makes a lot of money for Evo. So it'd be foolish of them to like stop doing anything or even like restrict certain games because people are going to pay to compete no matter what the game is. Yeah. Yeah, Joe Dubs has it right there. Yeah. Evo does.
And you know what's
also
funny? I remember going to Evo and I remember it just being like heavily just community driven, and it wasn't really like all these vendors there. It was always like maybe a t-shirt or maybe like Hitbox was there selling their controller,
not a fight stick, a fight button pad.
Yeah, fight something that eventually got banned anyway. So like, for tournament, what was it like? Hit confirm Hitbox, something like that. It was Hitbox, right?
Hitbox is the one that does their like
they're local here in Vegas.
Yeah, like where it's just buttons. There's no stick.
But it was never like, hey, we have freaking Sony reps with their own booths over here, and then it slowly started turning into that. Like it slowly started turning into like a crap load of vendors, official vendors and whatnot, and then it just blew up.
Yeah, it's huge.
But it makes sense now that Sony would be invested into something like this because I don't hear a lot of like Xbox players or Xbox consoles being the majority of an Evo. I hear a lot of PlayStation consoles being the majority there.
For the PS4, well, so for instance, games like, like Street Fighter is only on a PS4, right? So, or if somebody's, gaming rig or something like that. So you always had that. The Xbox One was really only used whenever anybody was playing KI, and that was it. Oh. Like, because that was like an Xbox exclusive.
Console exclusive, yeah.
Previous gen, you saw a lot more Xbox. So like Xbox 360, where you could play like Street Fighter 4 or like Marvel Capcom 3.
Right.
Everything ran better on the 360 than on a PS3, so you saw a lot more Xbox back then. But then that kind of shifted when the Xbox One PS4 came out.
It's crazy how titles will do that, even though they're available on both consoles, right? Like titles will decide the majority of a console, either because of performance or just the amount of players that play only on one side versus the other. But man, more power to Sony. I just hope that they don't try to like turtle that sucker in there and be like, oh, no more Nintendo, no more Xbox exclusives here. Sorry, but you're gonna have to find your own place. That would suck.
Yeah. And like I said, that would be limiting their money, which would just be foolish of them. Like Smash is still like the top fighting game in the world, so it's like they would have no point to like limit just to Sony consoles or something.
That's like crazy to hear now. Like Smash is the top fighting game. The game that was designed for 8-year-olds and 14-year-olds to 14-year-olds. Top fighting game.
Smash is a monster, man. Like even like what Nintendo Direct last month, they announced like 2 more characters for Smash Ultimate. It was like the there's two girls from Xenoblade Chronicles, and people lost their minds, and they were like, "Oh my god, I can't wait to play that," because Smash is still going strong. Like years later, they release a new DLC character, and people still lose their mind over it.
How many more characters can they smash into that game? Huh?
As many as anybody want to put their characters in.
Sorry. Boo.
Boo this man!
All right. All right. Well, I mean, I don't know what your opinions are, chat. I think it's a good move. At least fighting game communities are starting to be adopted by big AAA companies that are gonna just toss money at it so that way they can make money at it.
Yeah.
I know, like about 10 years ago, I was just impressed that Evo even made it onto DirecTV streams. That was a
DirecTV, what, ESPN3 or something like that had it. Like,
I think it was 3, not the Ocho.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not ESPN the Ocho.
Not ESPN the Ocho.
Yeah.
That's freaking mean.
Okay, let's wrap it up.
Hey you, join us live Saturdays at 12 noon Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern. Also, join our Discord channel after Game News Live to chat with us. Check out our Nerd Junkies merch available now. And for all this and more, visit us at nerdjunkies.com. See you next time on Game News Live.